Hi there, and welcome to the Adventures with Jesus Today podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Berg, and today we're going to be talking about when things seem impossible, Jesus is the way. My husband, if you've listened to any of my podcasts, you've heard me say that my husband is deeply wise and insightful. He will go away and think about something for a couple of hours, and then he'll come back to me and drop this bomb of wisdom that is just amazing. And so this is what he did this morning. And he said, Lisa, when we say there's just no way to do that, when we're looking at a circumstance and we've tried everything, we've looked at all the logical ways of doing things, we've tried all of our own ways, and we look at each other and we say, there's just no way to do that. He said, Lisa, you know what? When we say that, Jesus says, I am the way. And it was like a mic drop. And so we sat there talking it through and realized that this is an aspect of the truth of John 14:6. Jesus is talking to the disciples, and they're all around him, and they're saying, how can we know who the Father is? How can we know what the way is? And Jesus says to them, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me. And so we sat there thinking about when we say, there's just no way. Jesus responds to us and says, I am the way. So when we're faced with a situation that says, we've tried everything, it looks like all the blockages, nothing we seem to have been doing is working, we get to stop and say, Jesus, how are you being the way in this situation? Isn't that such a profound question? Then we open up the ability for Jesus to be able to say to us what he is doing over and above what we've tried to do, all of the ways it seemed blocked to us, or our effort has taken us to a certain point but no further. Jesus gets to say, I am the way. And so the question isn't necessarily even, Jesus, how are you making a way? But Jesus, how are you being the way? Because he says, I am the way. Can you imagine all of the beautiful conversations that you'll have with him as you ask him that question? And then we sat and looked at the rest of the verse. We go, okay, Lord, if you are the way, you are the truth. And it's the truth that sets us free, right? So thinking about things through Jesus' lens, seeing things through his eyes, thinking with the mind of Christ, we actually get to see the truth about the situation instead of the lie we're believing. We can be in a place where we feel sorry for ourselves and go, this is just so hard, and I've got little kids and I just don't get any sleep anymore. It's just so hard, and this is my life for the next couple of years. Or circumstances are so difficult at work. I've got this guy who just really doesn't like me, or I've got this woman that complains all the time, or I can just never get ahead. Or finances, there's always more money than money. There's always not enough money at the end of the month. Whatever it is that we find ourselves commonly saying, Jesus says, I am the truth. And the truth is that I will give you grace for the season with your children, and you can actually enjoy them. And I'll show you how to rest, even though you may not get enough sleep. The truth is that I have ways to provide for you financially and other provisions, and you don't have to always be stuck in this pattern of poverty of there's more month than the end of the money. The truth is that I have ways to prosper you at work, in your business and wherever you work, when you listen to me and let me show you the words to say and the ways to go and the things to do. And you have this attitude of, possibility thinking. God is actively at work in my situation, causing something to happen at work that will glorify him. Right? And this truth, as we see things through Jesus' perspective, the truth will replace lies. And then the third part of what he says, I am the way and the truth and the life. And Proverbs 18:21 says, death and life is in the power of our tongue, and we will eat the fruit thereof. And in John 10:10, he says, I came to give you life and life abundantly, right? So then we get to say, where we look at things and they look like they're dead, a relationship that won't seem to be fixed, a job that seems to be such a dead end, relationships that you're just saying, oh, I wish they could be revived again. I miss that person in my life. When you look at dreams that just don't seem like they'll ever be possible because they need more money or more time or more health or whatever. All of those things in your life that look like they're dead, look like they're coming to an end, you get to speak life to them. You get to say, Jesus, how are you the life in the midst of my body not feeling good at the moment? Jesus, how are you being life in my relationships, the ones I'm in and the ones that I would love to have back or the ones that I'd like to create? Jesus, how are you being life in my work situation? How are you being life in my business? How are you being life in my family and my legacy? Oh, such beautiful, powerful questions, all coming from this verse in John 14:6. Jesus saying, I am the way. So whenever we find ourselves saying there is no way, remember that He is the way. Whenever we find ourselves believing a lie that doesn't line up with the goodness of God, we get to say, oh, Jesus, you are the truth. And when we find ourselves looking at situations with the viewpoint of death, or it's not going anywhere, or it can't be revived, we get to say, Jesus, you are the life. And the beautiful thing is that further along in that passage, he says to the guys, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And then he says, I'm going down to verse 12, he says, I assure you that whatever you ask in my name, I will grant them. And listen to this beautiful verse in verse 13. It says, then I myself will grant whatever you ask in my name as presenting all that I am, so that the Father may be glorified and extolled in and through the Son. I'm reading from the Amplified Classic. Isn't that the most beautiful thing? Jesus will be the way. He will be the truth. He will be the life so that his Father is glorified, so that God gets all of the glory. Imagine your life through the lens of truth, through the lens of Jesus making a way, through the lens of life instead of death. And let Jesus show you who He is. And the result will be that God is glorified. And you will see and the whole world will see who God is as we walk this way. Such an amazing invitation. So, as always, Jesus is inviting you on an adventure today. Will you accept? Please like and share, review this podcast wherever you listen to it, and take a moment and sit intentionally for a couple minutes and recommend this. Send a text message to friends, acquaintances, colleagues, anybody the Holy Spirit leads you to, and take this podcast and forward it to 5 people today. Let's send hope to the world. Let's bring truth where there are lies. Let's bring a way where people think there is no way. Let's bring a life where people are experiencing death. And let's see Jesus do what only He can do through you, and the Father be glorified because of it. So good. Come across and visit us at thewaysofwisdom.com, and we're looking forward to hearing your stories. Bless you.